Belonging, a very key word in today's work environment. Just to introduce myself so you have a familiar face and know a little bit about me, I'm a speaker, executive leadership coach at any level, team building partner, a best-selling author, and I'll share my book with you later on in the session, and principal of the Kimberly Connection Company, where I am passionate about improving connections everywhere and really see a need to turn the workplace into the community place in order to have greater engagement, better well-being, higher levels of inclusivity, and overall just a better work experience. Work does not have to be miserable. I think we can really make it a wonderful experience for everybody at any level. So as mentioned, belonging is the human capital buzzword and really is the foundation for many of us in a very fundamental feeling. I don't care what country you are in or what industry you're in. It's really this year's Global Human Capital Trends Survey top of the list. And it's really the critical human capital issue in today's work environment. It is a fundamental basis for all of us, and the need to belong is universal. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel accepted. We all want to belong. And really the goal of belonging is not to fit in, but to help establish a community or a work environment where you and your employees feel like they fit together, right? Not necessarily fitting in. We all are very unique and have unique attributes, attitude, concepts, and ideas that really make us unique and really why we do best in accepting each other. I also like to compare that to Maslow's hierarchy of needs for employee engagement, where you look at the base level from a basic need, which is typically your safety, your food, your shelter, basic needs of just food, water, et cetera, sleep. Your basic needs really come from just knowing your job requirements as an employee and really have your basic resources in order to complete your job. That's the basic level. The next level would be the safety needs that are equitable to having a roof over our head, safe from any external threats, beasts, if you will. So the safety needs in the workplace are really, I feel heard. I feel safe enough to express myself and share new ideas, to be creative, to truly take risks outside maybe normal boundaries and without admonishment. I believe my leader has my best interest in mind. But if we want to look at the third tier, which is really around the belonging, the social needs, that piece is, I feel like I'm part of a team. I feel like I'm part of a community. I have friends at work that I like to hang with, and we talk about work and personal stuff. It's important. That whole community piece is very, very critical. And I'll save the other two for another session. Belonging. It also is the key to engagement. And studies show, there's Gallup, there's other articles from, say, Forbes, or I'm trying to think of some others, but just the recent survey that I pulled was in 2019 from Better Up. It found that workplace belonging can lead to a staggering 56% increase in job performance, and is really a foundation for people to really feel like they belong and want to stay retained. And it's, I think, no surprise that there's a direct correlation to people feeling like they belong and are engaged to whether they stay or whether they go. So how do we create belonging? I promised you 5 quick tips in this short 20-minute or less video that you can walk away with as a leader and implement today. So here they are. 1, vulnerability. 2, positivity and gratitude. 3, social bonds. 4, shared experiences and stories. And 5, getting others engaged in the work you do. Okay, vulnerability. I think it's a common definition or a common word these days. It's really ability to allow people to express themselves. In your case, as a leader, allow your employees to be able to communicate and share openly their different views and ideas, to be creative without really feeling like they need to fit in and that someone is not trying to fix them. And really, at the end of the day, that vulnerability starts with you as a leader. Maybe you're all starting to return back to the office, and maybe you as a leader feel a little bit of anxiety. Well, I'm used to sitting at home in my homey office with my slippers on and my pajama pants on, but now I've got to go back to the office and kind of polish up a little bit. It feels a little awkward, right? Or maybe you're a salesperson or a sales leader and going back out there and having presentations with clients or meeting them for dinner or entertaining. It's a little awkward. You feel a little rusty. Why don't you share that? That's okay. Share something that you probably anticipate that we all can relate to. And sharing that vulnerability helps others be vulnerable in your presence as well. Another way to do this is simply when you're having meetings, whether it's a group interaction or just a team conversation, ask questions that help people to reveal a certain side of themselves that might be personal without being overly personal. It might be, hey, what was your favorite job growing up? What was your first job growing up? Or, hey, where are you in the lineup of your family? Are you a middle child? Are you an older child? Are you an only child? Just some things to get the conversations kind of larger in breadth as far as discovering more about each other and what and who people really are. Vulnerability. The second piece would be creating more opportunities to show appreciation and gratitude with your teams and between each other. It's a natural human thing for our minds to default to being negative. So, typically when we don't have the information, we make it up. So if a company is getting bought by another organization, and as a leader, we're not communicating on a regular basis, what's the plan, timing, potential loss of jobs, how people can keep their jobs. If we're not communicating on a regular basis, what is the flow, what's possibly going to happen, and having open dialogue and ability for people to talk about things, we make up the worst, right? We assume everybody's going to get let go. Same thing from a positivity perspective. The more information you can give to people and it being positive and affirming to people, the better it helps with their mindset. It helps us center our perspective. We feel more confident in ourselves, and we feel more lighthearted, less anxious, and more able to fit in, if you will, and to feel like we are belonging. So gratitude. Take opportunities to show appreciation and thankfulness for an employee showing up repeatedly on time when typically they might be late, or spending a little extra effort with a customer in order to resolve a problem. Gratitude and appreciation are big things as a leader to help employees feel, one, valued and appreciated, part of that Maslow's hierarchy, and then also to help with belonging. Social bonds. Now that we're heading back into the office, and it's probably going to look like that it's a hybrid model where we've got some days at home, some days in the office, and switching back and forth. Highly encourage you to get your teams back in the office. Studies show that by being in the office, even if there's not one-on-one conversations and a lot of team meetings, the mere fact that you are sharing space together and have opportunity to have those water cooler conversations only enhances the opportunity for people to build friendships. And friendships show the more friendships you have in the office, the more likely you're willing to stay and the more likely that you feel like you belong. So social bonds and friendships. Shared experiences. No surprise, because years ago, before COVID, we were having a lot of team building experiences. Highly encourage you to start bringing those back. Or is there something you can create within your organization that's kind of fun and a way to get people out of the professional zone and into more of a personal zone where those friendships can build? Is it a company choir? Is it a company band? Is it a team paintball group, baseball team, whatever? Are there team retreats? Are there team projects that are non-hierarchical? The more we can have shared experiences with other people, excuse me, and go through the emotion of accomplishing a task, really a bonding experience. For example, think about it. If you've ever worked on a sales deal with multiple people, you've gone through the journey of creating the sales presentation and jointly meeting with the client to determine what their needs might be, possible objections. 3, you've built out the proposal and presented that. You've probably gone through several meetings and presentations with the client. And then all of a sudden you win the deal. And now you and the team are out celebrating, right? There's a lot of up and down and emotions that go through that. But that whole emotional roller coaster, if you will, and culminating in that celebration of happy hour is why you build a better bond, right? It's that whole roller coaster of emotion. So if you can create shared experiences, sharing emotions, hopefully more positive than negative, great opportunity for people to feel like they really fit, are part of something bigger in that community. And 5, the last one, is really getting engaged by including others. We are natural born collaborators. We are not meant to be isolated, hence why so many of us, including myself, had such a challenge during the pandemic. We are meant to collaborate. We need each other. For example, if you are so focused on a project, so focused on completing a proposal, RFP, sales presentation, accounting, whatever you're doing, if you're so focused on that you get stuck, it's probably because you're so socially off turned that you need to start turning your social on. And what that means is by turning social on and including others to review that project, to get their feedback or input, or just to have an open conversation, most likely will help you get unstuck and contribute some significant valuable information to help you get to the next level. So I guess I'm asking you, when you get to that point where you get so focused, called social off, that you get stuck, time to put the social on, reach out to others, because we are natural collaborators and you need each other to really actually solve the problem. So don't cheat yourself out of the gift of including others in your projects. Anything you're doing, helpful for belonging. So we talked about the 5 keys to belonging. We talked about vulnerability. We talked about positivity and gratitude, giving positive feedback and showing thankfulness for actions and things people are doing and who they are and their uniqueness. Social bonds at work are really important in order to build high levels of engagement, because when we have friends at work, we enjoy ourselves, we're more likely to feel like we belong, we're more likely to stay. Shared experiences and stories, anything we can do to help others feel a part of a community, a part of a team, a part of something bigger than themselves. Shared experiences and stories help to do that. And then finally, we talked about getting others involved in your work. It could be delegating for a short period of time, could having your employees take over a certain portion of the meeting, writing part of the RFP, et cetera, et cetera. We do better when we are in a team a format, because we all have unique ideas, creativity, and ways to solve problems. Now, how do we incorporate this feeling of belonging on a daily basis as a leader? And what can we incorporate in some of the things that we do as leaders to make sure that this actually permeates the organization? So, one good way to do that is to actually include someone really expressing themselves uniquely in their creativity or unique ideas by putting that in part of the performance review. Maybe you want them to speak up more in meetings and share their great ideas, because they have great ideas, right? So maybe put that as part of their performance review, or maybe you actually call on them in a meeting knowing that they've got something significant and important to contribute. Have something where they are continually feeling part of a team by really reiterating the organization's values and purpose. Maybe there's a charity that is very aligned with many of your team members that as a team you might want to support and get involved in. There's many, many ways on a daily basis that you can help foster that ability and sense of belonging. Obviously, lead by example. We talked about in the beginning, as a leader, the more you're vulnerable, the more you're creating a safe environment by sharing your vulnerability, only offers a safe opportunity for others to feel the same way. So lead by example. If you have a diverse leadership team, highlight that. Highlight panels where there's frequent opportunities where leaders might be saying, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that perspective. Can I suggest this option? Or I kind of see it this way. Really encouraging a dialogue where leaders are pleasantly challenging each other with good ideas and different perspectives only allows then the employees to feel more comfortable in team meetings to do the same thing, right? When you're pulling teams together, make it a diverse team. Maybe it's from different departments, right? If you're trying to work on a corporate project, there's ways to lead by example, and I've just shared a couple of them. And a way for people to see each other and maybe share how they're being perceived, and just being openness about everybody's different unique attributes, is to have a 360-degree feedback, how others perceive us. What do we see that is unique amongst our teammates and amongst other employees? Make it a game, make it part of a team meeting. Actually sharing what makes each one of us unique and having others comment that is a way to help people start to feel accepted in their uniqueness and to feel like they belong. And finally, make it safe to disagree. Really encouraging in meetings to go around the room and ask people to push back. What do they feel might be a challenge in this particular situation? What do they think the client might actually object to or not resonate with? What do they see any loopholes or gaps in this project plan that might be leave us running sideways at what point? What is not resonating with our mission and values here? So are our priorities changing, or do we have to have a different priority? Really feature and make it almost a common experience in your meetings to have people disagree or challenge it. At the end, people are going to feel more like they belong, but importantly, you're actually going to have a better solution because you've vetted out some of the disconnects and some of the areas that might go wrong. So in closing, it's important to think and remember that equality does not mean equity. Equality is giving everyone something equal, whereas equity is really giving people the opportunity to be successful. And that's what you're doing as a leader. And that's what you're doing in trying to create something that's from a belonging perspective, accepting of everybody's differences. An example might be maybe somebody has to take a moment out for a special religious prayer on a regular basis, or a young mother needs to breastfeed her child. The ability to give people the resources and the time and the flexibility to do what they need to be successful is important. And you're as a leader are the one that drives that bus. Thank you for joining us today. Again, I'm Kimberly Layne from the Kimberly Connection Company, and I'm passionate about improving connections everywhere. Join us on our next episode of Connect, Communicate, and Coach, where we talk about different ways you can give positive feedback, even when sometimes the feedback isn't always so positive. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us today.